This
They're angry over the NHS. They're angry. It's not different.
You're
it's
right about
connected.
frustration.
And when you try and siphon it off,
different.
Nigel Farage and Fiona Lali clash in heated migrant debate during Epping protests. You're not going to believe what just unfolded in Epping. It started as a protest, a gathering sparked by frustration over a migrant housing plan in a quiet Essex town. But what happened next? No one saw coming. Nigel Farage, the man who reshaped British politics with Brexit, suddenly face-to-face with Fiona Lali, the firebrand activist from the Revolutionary Communist Party. And right there, in the middle of angry chants and flaring tensions, the two locked horns. No studio lights. No producers. Just raw politics on the street, in real time with the nation watching. The scene was Epping, a normally quiet, middle-class town in Essex. Over the past few weeks, plans emerged suggesting the government was preparing to house asylum seekers in former RAF facilities on the outskirts of the town. The response? Immediate and intense. Local residents began organizing town meetings. Social media lit up with posts demanding answers. And then the protests began. What made this protest different was who showed up. Nigel Farage arrived unannounced, holding a GB News mic, filming a segment on government transparency, and speaking directly to frustrated locals who said they'd been kept in the dark. But then came Fiona Lali, known for her fiery debates on immigration, capitalism, and border policy. And within minutes, the two were nose to nose. Farage accused the government and, by extension, activists like Lali of betraying working-class Britain. You don't get to decide what communities look like from an office in Westminster, he said. People here have real concerns. About jobs. About housing. About safety. And they're being ignored. Lali wasn't having it. She shot back, saying Farage was weaponizing fear and stoking division to push a nationalist agenda. The real crisis isn't immigration, it's austerity, inequality, and a broken system that scapegoats the vulnerable, she fired back. Crowds gathered around. Phones went up. Chants broke out on both sides. It was no longer just a protest, it became a battle over what Britain is and what it's becoming. And the internet went wild. Clips of the argument racked up thousands of views within hours. Some called it the political moment of the summer. One viral comment read, "Say what you want about Farage, but at least he shows up. Lali just shouts slogans." Another shot back. Lali wiped the floor with him. This isn't the 1940s, Britain needs to grow up. Even mainstream commentators chimed in. LBC's Ian Dale said the exchange was deeply revealing, not just about the migrant issue, but about how fractured the political landscape has become. We're no longer having conversations, we're just choosing sides, he warned. The government insists the housing plan is temporary. A Home Office spokesperson said, "We are exploring all available options to ease pressure on the asylum system. Any facilities used will meet legal standards and will be subject to consultation." But local councillors aren't convinced. One Tory representative from Epping told the press, "We weren't consulted. We're dealing with a top-down mandate that ignores local capacity hospitals, schools, everything. It's not sustainable." Activists, however, argue that migrants are being dehumanized, turned into talking points instead of people. Lali, in a follow-up interview, said, "It's disgusting. People fleeing war and famine deserve dignity, not to be used as a political football." But there's a deeper story here. This wasn't just a debate over migration. This was a culture war flashpoint. Nigel Farage stands for a Britain that controls its borders, prioritizes its citizens, and in his words, gets its house in order before opening the door. Fiona Lali represents a growing movement of radical leftists who say borders are inherently violent, and that true justice means global equality, not national privilege. Two worldviews. Two entirely different moral frameworks. On the same patch of pavement, clashing in real time. And both sides are growing louder. Polling shows that migration remains one of the top 3 issues for UK voters heading into the next general election. But opinions on how to deal with it are all over the place. A YouGov poll last week showed 62% of respondents support strict limits on immigration, but only 27% trust any political party to manage it. One Essex resident at the protest put it simply, "We don't hate migrants. We just feel like no one's asking us before making these decisions." It's always, just deal with it. Farage says he's not done. He's promised to visit more towns where migrant housing projects are being pushed without local votes. Lali. She's doubling down, planning more community town halls with migrant support groups and speaking on university campuses to mobilize the youth. And meanwhile, tensions are rising. The protests in Epping may calm down, but the national debate? Far from over. Because if this week proved anything, it's this. Britain is still deeply divided on who belongs and who gets to decide. And the question remains. If two people with microphones can create this much heat, what happens when Parliament finally weighs in? Stay tuned, because the migrant debate just got personal.